The Washington Nationals last season put up a record of 55 and 107, the worst record in the MLB. However, with that, they get the honor of being the first team to have a team profile done in our out of the 30 teams for our team profile series here on Bleacher Brawls. So obviously, it was a little bit of a rough year, but they do have a bright future ahead. Hopefully, they have some young talent, and they've brought in some veterans to hopefully help that young talent out. It's heading into 2023. What's going to happen for this Nationals team? We're going to discuss it right here on Bleacher Brawls. My name is Derrik. I'm here with Pat. We're going to talk about that right here on the Nationals team profile, and let's get straight into it. So as I said, 55 and 107 was the record for the Washington Nationals. Not a great year, and like I said, we're starting the big leagues. Not great. They're going to look to turn the corner into 2023, and you start looking at this roster. I'll go to Pat first. Three key players for the national teams. You watch a lot of them, obviously living near Washington, near where the Nats play, obviously. So who are three key players for this team, and out of those three, who do you think will have the biggest impact for them?
I think the three guys you have to look at are the three biggest pieces from their trades over the past couple of years, because that's the route that they're headed, right? I think you need to look at Josiah Gray. I think Keibert Ruiz and CJ Abrams. And it's going to be what can these not quite rookies, some of them not. What can these rookies do? Can they play some full seasons? Can they make 25 starts, right? Can they play a full season at shortstop, a full big league season, things like that, right? So what you're looking at is for some of these guys to make those trades, because you traded away some superstars. All right, you had to. Okay, there was no other option. But they could have gone anywhere. Did you get the right pieces back in return, or are you going to hear what the Red Sox have heard about Mookie Betts for years and years, and will continue to hear for years and years, right? And so I think it's going to be rookie heavy over the next next couple seasons.
Yeah, I think that's fair. When I went down and started looking at, key players for this Nats team, and I pretty much had a similar group. I went with Keibert Ruiz. I went with CJ Abrams, but instead of with Josiah Gray, I went and took a look at Mackenzie Gore, who, another big piece in that Juan Soto trade, as it feels like there were 10 big pieces in that trade. But I feel like Mackenzie Gore is going to be, crucial for the Nats, because he put up a 4.50 ERA last year. 4.11 FIP shows that maybe he could do a little bit better. And if he improves, maybe you see him, with the, lower FIP than this ERA, he improves based off that. And then because he's still young and hopefully getting better, you hope you see improvement from that. And I think this whole thing for this Nats team, you got to see improvement, right? And we'll talk about it with a couple other teams, especially rebuilding teams. You want to see improvement from your young core, and the Nationals are one of those teams. Abrams, Gore, Josiah Gray, Keibert Ruiz, et cetera, you want to see that improvement from the young core. And I think Mackenzie Gore is one of those guys who can improve and can continue to get better. But with that young core they have started to bring in some veteran pieces this offseason, hopefully try and help that young core develop more, but also maybe have some mentorship there as well. But they haven't made any big signings, obviously, as they're a rebuilding team. They brought in Corey Dickerson, Jeimer Candelario, Dom Smith, Trevor Williams, Alex Colomé. And they've also made a couple moves in the Rule 5 draft, like Thad Ward, as we are Red Sox fans. Out of those moves, who do you think makes the biggest impact for the Nationals in 2023?
Wow, that's such a tough one, because you have some of the rookies, right? Picking up Jeter Downs off of waivers, Jeter Downs, obviously a big part of that Mookie trade that I alluded to earlier, right? I think you're going to be looking at a guy like him more. I don't know if I want to pick a specific name. You probably have one in mind, Dee, but I think the Jeter Downs type, like we're talking about the young core type, right? Corey Dickerson, Dom Smith, listen, Nats fans, stay out of my mentions, right? But you need somebody to stand there, okay? And you got to have a left fielder, you got to have a first baseman. It's got to be somebody. So might as well be Dom Smith. Luke Voigt couldn't have been any more miserable in his 3 years in Washington last year. So I think I don't know if I have one specific player. I want to know if you do, Dee, but I think just any of those young guys, somebody's got to break out in some way.
Yeah, well, I do have a specific player, actually, because it's a guy who in 2020 shortened season, had a 140 weighted runs created plus, had a 120 weighted runs created plus in 2021. And in I would say a pitcher-friendly ballpark in Detroit, Jeimer Candelario. And I mean this in a way of, yes, he can provide some mentorship, maybe he's a little bit of pop in the lineup, but also, too, you get close to that trade deadline. If he has a good year, maybe you can bring something back for him, get something for him to, bring in a young piece. And you're not going to get some top-of-the-line prospect for him, but it helps. Everything that you can get back helps. And I would expect him to have a bounce back year. I thought he was going to have another solid year last year in Detroit. That whole Detroit team kind of was just rough offensively for that whole Detroit team last year, and now they're moving in the fences. So maybe, maybe it was the ballpark. But yeah, I think he could be a very interesting piece for them, especially when you get around the trade deadline.
Yeah, I think that was what they wanted to do last year with Nelson Cruz. Who was it that traded Nelson Cruz to Tampa this season before?
Minnesota,
thank you. Right.
I think he had been there the year before too, I think.
But it was still that okay, he's still got some pop in his bat. We can send him to a playoff team. We'll get something for him. And he just had nothing going on last year, and they weren't really able to do that. And he opts out now. He's in San Diego, and got eye surgery, and hopefully can see again. But maybe that they're going to be able to get that out of him this year.
Yeah, I think the big thing Candelario last year was his walk rate dropped 4%, and his K rate jumped 2%. So it was definitely a rough year. His isolated power dropped. His BABIP dropped by 70 points compared to 2021. So it was definitely a down year for him. There's no hiding that. But, you look at it and you go, if he bounces back as a bounce back year, puts up around a 120 weighted runs created plus, there should be suitors at the deadline because he shouldn't cost too much. And it'll be a good way for the Nationals to add to their rebuild. And, we talk about rebuild, and this is going to bring into their team expectations part of this, where this Nationals team, what are their expectations for 2023? Obviously, they want to rebuild, but within that rebuild, what are the expectations just beyond just the word rebuild?
Wow, I that's a tough one, right? I think it's going to be on top of rebuilding the entire team. I think it's going to be building some of these guys up, right? I'm not trying to beat a dead horse with some of these players, but CJ Abrams is the crux of this Juan Soto deal. Soto, whose City Connect shirt I bought last year because I was like, he's going to be here forever. It'll be worth my money. And then he was gone a month later. Abrams, this is going to be, it's a full season for him. It's a full, major league season with one team. You want Josiah Gray to start opening day and, take the ball every fifth day. You're just talking about let's get some reps in and let's develop some, take our talent and put the work in with the talent and make these guys, the core of the next couple years, because 2023, we all know that ain't it.
Yeah, I think that's the thing with the Nationals. It's rebuild, but rebuild, it's about this is going to be a player development rebuild, especially too, some of these young pieces are already in the big leagues. A guy like Josiah Gray, his secondary pitches were good last year, but his fastball got absolutely hammered. You give him 24 home runs just off the fastball alone. His fastball got hammered, absolutely hammered last year. He's tried mixing in a sinker occasionally, but that still got hammered too, or at least pitches that read as a sinker, not a fastball, not a four seam. So yeah, it's one of those things where, but you look at Josiah Gray, if that fastball works out and he can improve that fastball and then not have it get hammered, you got a pitcher there, because the two secondary pitches were solid last year. And I think that's what it is. This is going to be a player development year for the Nationals. CJ Abrams, I think he got hurt a little bit because he got thrust into that Padres lineup last year with Tatis getting injured, and he really shouldn't have been in the big leagues to start the season. I was really high on Abrams, but shouldn't have been in the big leagues to start the season. It was just such a leap for him. I didn't think it made sense. But it's a player development year for the Nationals.
Yeah, it's a draft well. It's don't rush guys in the minors kind of time. Let's just give everybody some space. Hopefully, get them some good coaching and start thinking about down the line.
Yep. I think that's a great note to wrap this thing up on. Let us know, National Saints. Let us know your thoughts in the comments. about this Nationals team and their future. Make sure to like, subscribe, hit the notification bell so you know if I whenever we post. Check out all our links in the description. The first one will be a playlist of all the team profiles. This is the first one, but there will be 29 others to cover the other 29 teams too. So make sure to check those out as they come out. And check out all our other links to the Bleacher Brawls website, podcast, Instagram, and Twitter, plus all the crew's Twitters. For Pat, my name is Derek. You've been watching the Washington Nationals team profile here on Bleacher Brawls, and we'll see you next time.